If we
The
have
idea
a,
of creation.
sorry, so if you think that everything needs a creator, that means our creator has a creator, and then that creator has a creator. And then how long do you want to do this for? Because each one of these creators, you realize, would also need to have a creator. So anyway, you can't have an original thought or idea that doesn't in one way or another directly relate to something that already exists. Everyone likes to think that they are completely original and they're able to think whatever thought, but this isn't actually how it works. You can't think of something new that doesn't relate to something else. There needs to be some sort of inspiration for a new idea to come about. And really, any original thoughts, the first ever original thoughts that were had by whichever first people were here, any of those original thoughts all came from nature itself. Mm-hmm. Some existing thing that was on the planet. Like the first ever hammer, for example. Like this is a good example. Like someone didn't just think of this idea. That's not how it happens. There needs to be a visual or an audible connection that's made in order for an idea to happen. So they must have seen like a rock falling down a mountain, or it could have been whatever. It's just anything that they saw something smash into something else, and then they witnessed this, and that's where the connection was made. And from there, an idea sparked, and they thought that maybe they could mimic that in some way, and that could be helpful for them. That was the inspiration. There needs to be some sort of connection, otherwise you can't have a new thought.
Just like try to.
Yeah, like try to have an original thought. Try to think of something that's never been thought. You can't do it without relating what you're thinking about to something else. It's not just inventions and things that we create. It goes for just what you think about as well. Anything you think about has, not that anything you think has been thought, but anything you could possibly think relates to something that has been thought.
It's kind of like a dream. You know how in dreams, sometimes you'll see someone that you don't recognize, someone you've never seen before in your life is in your dream. And they say that you can't make up a face. So either it is someone you saw in passing that has manifested itself in your dream, or it's a combination of
people,
of different faces.
Yeah, like one guy's head, but like someone else's body, and then like someone else's legs.
Yeah. Like you cannot make up in your mind someone's face. So you can't just dream up a person. It's someone that you've seen, or a combination of people that you've seen. It's kind of the same concept.
Yeah. People like to argue that this isn't correct, and if someone's arguing with you that this is incorrect, it simply means that they're not fully understanding the concept of this. Like they'll try and argue like, oh, well then how do we go from, bow and arrows to guns to rockets, missiles? That's exactly the point, is that each one of these led to the next invention. Like we only have
playing a video game.
We only have guns because we once had bow and arrows.
Well, right, but it's like playing a video game where you start with like one weapon.
Yeah.
And then over time, you're like
one idea bounces off the other.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of just like that's exactly how it happened. There's no gunpowder came from somewhere. Like that idea of an explosive device came from somewhere.
Yeah.
And it has to do with physics. It has to do with fire. It has to do with... And don't get me wrong, it's not like... theoretically, we are the smartest species. So we were able... Because we have critical thinking. And we have different parts of our brain that allow us to... Like, if-then... Those kinds of things. Where, like, a monkey can't create a fire. We could see a fire. We can see what causes a fire. We can see what aggravates a fire. And then it just kind of goes from there. Yeah. There are so many different avenues for, all of it comes back to just to nature.
I think one of our most important traits as humans is our ability to be inspired. Because without inspiration and without being able to inspire, there can be no ideas, there's no creative way to take anything. Inspiration is a fundamental, really human quality that allows us to make advancements, honestly. Like, so like back to the bow and arrow gun thing, like bow and arrow is safe to assume one of the first weapons that fired something, that projectiled something. This wasn't just an idea that someone thought of. They weren't just like, oh, I'll take a string and then put it on a stick and then this will allow me to
Yeah, it wasn't
slingshot.
random. There's no random...
So the way that I like to think about that happened is they probably had spears first, right? So like they had spears, which that idea also had to have come from something.
Well, it's like you look at an animal with horns.
Yeah.
And running at another animal.
That was possibly the inspiration for spears. We don't know. We can only give an educated guess as to how these ideas came about. But we know like why they came about, because it was through inspiration and a visual connection. So I like to think that maybe someone like accidentally got a spear caught in a rope, or it bounced off of a thin tree branch or something, and that through that connection, seeing that happen, someone was able to think of a new idea. Like, oh, it got caught in a rope and it accidentally shot itself. Like maybe we can duplicate what just happened there and we can create our own device. You know what I mean? And then that's how hunting became, like you used to have to run up to animals and spear them, but now they were able to keep their distance. And then from there, the idea just takes off. That one idea leads to the next, to the next, to the next, and then before you know it, we're at missiles.
That's the case for a lot of inventions in like modern history. I can't remember off the top of my head, but like I think there's this quote that it's like some of the best inventions were like results of mistakes.
Result of a failure, yeah.
Yeah.
Failure is really the best teacher. Like the only reason we have planes is because birds exist. Without birds, we would never have had planes. The idea just wouldn't be possible. Mm-hmm. You couldn't think of that. And then
helicopters look like dragonflies.
Yeah, the inspiration for helicopters was dragonflies. We would not have helicopters if we didn't have dragonflies. So this brought me to the conclusion the other day of where we got the idea for aliens. Like aliens, we obviously is just a theory because no one's ever seen them and there's no proof of aliens. So it's, as of now, it's still just an idea. It's a thought that was had one day, and now that thought couldn't possibly have been had if there weren't other species that live on Earth. If humans were the only species to ever exist on Earth, if we were it, there was no other life forms here, then the idea for aliens wouldn't even be possible. Only because of the fact that we have other species, multiple species here on Earth, is that thought possible.
And it's only possible too because we have the brain capacity that we have.
Right.
Because no other animal on the planet questions why another species is here. You know what I mean? No other animal, like, it's like monkeys are, you know what I mean? Monkeys, dolphins, like, they'll engage with things in a similar way humans do sometimes. But they don't have that, like...
that X factor.
Yeah.
Whatever humans have is something that other animals just don't have. Because you do see inspiration in other animals.
Well, right. We get a lot of our any idea that we've really ever had to have stemmed from animals.
Yeah, like what about like
things.
flippers that you wear to like when you're like scuba diving?
Fish,
like
whales.
Yeah. There's an infinite amount of like things you could create, but we're limited to what we have to work with here on Earth, what we're able to see and hear through nature.
It's like trying to think of a new color, even though you know. And I don't really get this, how we have this figured out. I haven't looked into it enough, but like there's like a certain kind of shrimp that can see like 1,000 more colors than we can.
Yeah, I don't even know how we
Try to think of a new color. Can you think of a new color? Just like, not a different shade, a new color.
Yeah, that one's tough to think about.
That's like trying to think of a new idea. It's not like, and even when you think it's like, oh, well, this might be a new idea, think about it again and try to figure out where you got
that idea.
That new idea.
Yeah, there has to be a connection somewhere. Otherwise, it's impossible.
There's a short story, what is it? Short film.
Yeah, like on YouTube.
That we had watched.
On YouTube, there's shorts, but they're not the shorts you're thinking of, like scrolling through shorts.
They're short films.
Yeah, they're movies, but they're like 15 minutes long. Mm-hmm. They call them shorts.
We were really into that for a while, and we'd come across one.
This is what actually gave us this idea.
It was called Original Thought or something like that. And it's like this guy wakes up one morning and he has an original thought. And he goes to tell his wife and like he gets it out, whatever. You never hear what the original thought is because it doesn't exist, because there is no original thoughts. But like he tells his wife, and then a few minutes go by and her head explodes. And then it's over the course of however long. He's a research subject, and he blows up all these people's heads, and it's because like
everyone he tells this new thought to, their head explodes.
Mm-hmm. You can't. It's not possible.
Yeah,
it's just not.
They were just trying to get this same point across, just through a short movie. It was just that you couldn't. There are no original thoughts. And like, a lot of people have a hard time understanding this concept. You know what I mean? Like, they don't want to accept it. Because I've talked about this a few times on TikTok now, and there's always people that want to argue that, like, oh, what do you mean? Like, that, of course you can have an original thought. But
tell me your original thought.
Yeah, because you understand that we only have a few different forms of flight, but the possibilities are endless. But we're stuck with what we're able to,
and even the things that we like apparently haven't invented yet still exist in our minds, like anti-gravity and all of these like and unlimited energy, like all of these things. Like, you don't need an invention, it already exists in your mind. The possibility of it already exists, even though you don't necessarily have the specs to get to it. It doesn't need to even be manifested physically. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just like...
This is a thought that will kind of change, it's kind of life-altering, this thought. Because it makes you feel very limited in what it almost questions free will. Because, like, yeah, you have free will to go and do what you want, but you're only free to do the things that you know how to do and things that you've seen do. Like, yeah, you can be driving down the road and drive your car off the road, and you call that free will. Yeah, I have the free will. Yeah, but the only reason you have the free will to do that is because you know that that's something that can be done.
Mm-hmm. And you know that it could kill you, and you have the gas pedal to do so.
Yeah.
And there's like, yeah.
We're pretty much just all like, we're all like mockingbirds. Like, you can only mock things, really. You can't come up with your own new thing. You can, but it must relate to something else.
Yeah, there is free will, but there's also, like, it's not completely free.
It's not.
Like, there are guidelines, and it's not in the sense that, like, oh, there's laws and there's things that you can't do. I don't mean it like that. I just mean that there is a, like, oh, well, I have free will to paint my house pink. Yeah. Of course you do. But, like, Why? Because you had a Barbie dream house when you were a kid and you liked the color pink? You know what I mean? It's like there's always you're not doing anything or thinking anything for no reason. Ever.
Right.
Even intrusive thoughts, even thoughts you don't want to have, even anxiety and embarrassment and hateful thoughts that you have towards someone that you don't want to have, or these weird, like, nightmares, anything. All of these things that you have that maybe you're not even trying to come up with on your own are still coming from somewhere. Like, it's still...
Yeah, like even subconsciously.
Yeah.
Like if you like think of something, you're like, I don't know how I thought of that. There was something in your past that brought you to this conclusion.
There's plenty of things that I think of throughout the day where it's like, I don't want to be thinking of that. Like,
yeah.
But it's because your brain is creating a scenario or something that doesn't exist or something that doesn't happen, or it just, that is what it is. And I truly, like, I don't think the first people who came up with the wheel and the hammer and let there be light and all of these things, like, I don't think they were thinking of what we're thinking of now.
No.
They weren't thinking of that. They were too caught up on what was happening, and I feel like we're getting bored. We're running out of things. We're running out of ideas.
It would seem like that.
You know what I mean? Because imagine, like, and yeah, like, I guess the first hammer is easy to be like, they weren't thinking of that because these were cavemen. They didn't have the capacity to think as complicated as we're thinking. But even electricity and the plane and these things, like, do you think that they were sitting there and wondering if this was an original thought, or even thinking past, like, they probably knew the inspiration to it.
There's no telling how intelligent people were, thousands of years ago or hundreds of years.
I know.
We have no way of knowing that. They could have been just as intelligent as we are, but then another reset happened, and then things shifted.
That's what I think. I think we would be naive to believe that we are the most intelligent
to ever exist.
Yeah. I think that's very naive, based on the architecture that stands. Mm-hmm. And I could be wrong because I have no proof behind what I'm saying, but...
So I just want to give one more example for the reasoning behind why I think people think that we were created. Like, so the reason why people think that we were created by a god is simply because humans create things. Creating something is a human quality. So from your perspective, you'd really have no other possible way of even thinking about this. That is the only way you're able to comprehend your existence, is through creation. Like, oh, we're here, so someone clearly created us. No, that's just the only possibility you can think of. So,
yeah, like the bunnies and the caterpillars and no, they're not thinking about, like, it doesn't make sense. And also, like, okay, so if we have a creator, you were talking about this earlier, if we have a creator, then where did that idea come from?
Yeah, like if we have
creation.
Sorry, so if you think that everything needs a creator, that means our creator has a creator, and then that creator has a creator. And then how long do you want to do this for? Because each one of these creators, you realize, would also need to have a creator. So, anyway, like,
and you can't say that the observation of a mother creating a child is an idea, because you would have to have something behind that, and that's also not an idea. That just is what is.
Right. That idea that the earth was created and we were created, that idea is completely stolen from the fact that a mother creates a child. That's how that idea came about. There's no other possibility. People are like, oh no, God created the universe. But where did you get that idea from? Because the only thing in the world that creates life is a mother. So that is literally the only place where you can get that idea. And remember, there needs to be inspiration for an idea. And the idea of God creating us came from that.
And it's portrayed as a man, to boot.
I know.
That's a whole other video.
We're not going to get
versus
into
matriarchy.
We're not going to get into religion right now, but because we just wanted to talk about ideas and where they come from. But I think that's very significant and something to really put a good amount of thought into. This is one of my favorite things to talk about and think about. But the only reason why people think we were created is because humans create things. And like the reasoning behind your existence, it's you can't comprehend it. It's not something you could possibly even have the thought about. So this is why people make up stories, because it's not comfortable to feel like you don't know.
And you know what, what solves a creative block a lot of the time, so that you can have a new idea, is to change your perspective, or to look at it from a new angle, or to go out in nature, change your scenery. Say, as an artist myself, I have been in a creative block for I don't even know how long. And it's not because I can't, it's I can't think of a new idea.
You have no new inspiration.
I need to change my perspective. I need to change the angle I'm looking at things. I need to go somewhere else. Change the setting that I'm trying to draw in and draw inspiration from. It's not that I'm trying to think of a new idea. It might feel like that. It might feel like there's this block in my mind. But it really isn't that. It's because I'm staring at the same four walls and trying to come up with something based off of those four walls.
Yeah, like if they never left the cave, no new ideas would ever happen. They would just be stuck. And that's kind of like people today, that they kind of intentionally create this bubble around themselves and close off their minds to all other possibilities. That's what religion really is. It's you're accepting one thing. You're saying, okay, that's what it is. And now I'm closed off. I'm not open to other suggestions or possibilities.
Which I never...
That's like trapping yourself in a cave and saying, nope, no new knowledge.
I can't think of anything in the world or any time I've ever felt that way about anything.
No, I've always been curious and wanting to...
the only thing I am certain of, and will forever be certain of, is the unconditional love I have for our children. And that is it. You could tell me that nothing exists, and this is a video game, and none of it matters. Or that God does exist, or I can't shut down any idea. I have a lot of reasons to argue with you about it. You know what I mean? I can be yeah, we have 100 reasons to disagree with religion and the way that it is. But we can't discount it the way that they discount everything else that isn't God. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. People just need to start to recognize that what they know might not exactly be something that you definitely know, and you need to become aware of how little you actually do know.
And try to think of an original idea.
Yeah, try and think of an original
idea.
Let us know.
Let's hear it. Let us know what it is.
I'll be able to relate it to something. But we just wanted to talk about that real quick, and hopefully we can start getting out more videos during the week. We've just been pretty busy lately. Yeah, so thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to follow us on TikTok, and we'll see you in the next one.